and welcome to Diabetes Connections in the News. I'm Stacey Sims, and every other Friday, I bring you a short episode with the top diabetes stories and headlines happening now. Keep in mind, this is Diabetes Awareness Month in the U.S., and this week marked World Diabetes Day, so there's a lot going on. In the News is brought to you by Edgepark. Simplify your diabetes journey with Edgepark. Our top story, Novo Nordisk said this week it will discontinue its long-acting insulin Levemir in the U.S., citing manufacturing constraints, reduced patient access, and available alternatives. The Danish drug maker said supply disruptions will start in mid-January, and they will discontinue the pens in April, no more vials by the end of 2024. Novo has another long-acting insulin, Tresiba, on the market. This also comes 8 months after they said they'd cut U.S. list prices for several of its insulin products next year, which included a 65% reduction in the list price of Levemir. Novo, which is now Europe's most valuable listed company, posted record operating profit for the third quarter. Sales of Wegovy, the obesity drug, reached $1.36 billion with a B dollars. Big news from Tandem Diabetes this week. First, their Control-IQ algorithm gets FDA approval for children as young as 2 years old. The technology's original 2019 clearance limited use to 6 and older, so now toddlers can use the algorithm. And Tandem is officially rolling out their limited launch of the software update that will allow users to connect to either the Dexcom G6 or G7 CGM. If you're in the limited launch, you got an email this week telling you the next steps. Wider release is expected gradually in the first part of 2024. Integration with Abbott's FreeStyle Libre is expected very soon as well, which would mean Tandem's t:slim X2 and Mobi pumps would be compatible with 3 CGMs. Full disclosure, as of this recording, there was not a media release I received with this information. My son is in the limited launch group, so we got the email. Beta Bionics iLet pump and its supplies are now covered as part of some pharmacy benefits. Express Scripts added it to its national formulary list. Now, insulin pumps usually fall under the Durable Medical Equipment, or DME, insurance benefits, but pharmacy benefits can be more flexible with fewer upfront costs. The iLet uses an adaptive closed-loop algorithm that initializes, it starts out with the user's body weight, and requires no additional insulin dosing parameters. So you don't put in any basal rates or things like that. You do have to announce your meals, no carb counting. Instead, users announce small, medium, or large meals. We've done many episodes on the iLet. We've also done many episodes on the Control-IQ algorithm and what to expect with the G7 integration. I'm going to link up all of those episodes in the show notes. You can also go to diabetes-connections.com and search with a keyword and find what you're looking for in our 600-episode archive. The UK has launched a pioneering study to explore the development of type 1 diabetes in adults, aiming to screen 20,000 people. This makes the UK the first country to implement general population screening for type 1 in both children and adults. It's supported by the Helmsley Charitable Trust, and it builds on the Diabetes UK-funded Bart's Oxford Family Study, also known as BOX. The study launched on World Diabetes Day and is looking for adults aged 18 to 70. In England, they have finalized a draft guidance regarding hybrid closed-loop systems, concluding that technology should be made broadly available and accessible to help people with type 1 better manage this condition. The National Institute for Health and Care Excellence recommended that hybrid closed-loop technology be offered to all people with type 1 and has devised a 5-year rollout plan. Under that plan, the hybrid closed-loop systems would be offered first to children, young people, existing insulin pump users, and women who are pregnant or planning to become pregnant, after which they'll be issued to adults who have an average A1C of at least 7.5. Right back to the news in just a minute, but first, Diabetes Connections in the News is brought to you by Edgepark. Life is busy. Managing diabetes is a daily commitment. Edgepark can help you say goodbye to the worry of managing your diabetes supplies with a variety of cutting-edge insulin delivery systems from brands like Medtronic and Tandem. Plus, Edgepark accepts most insurance plans and handles the paperwork, so you can simplify your life, your diabetes care, and your budget in one click. Go to diabetes-connections.com and look for the Edgepark logo. Back to the news, and you may remember Kyle Banks. He was diagnosed with type 1 while performing in Disney's The Lion King show. I've interviewed him on the podcast. He's a great guy, and he has a foundation called Kyler Cares. The mission there is to improve health outcomes for people of color living with diabetes and ensure their families get resources and technology. They have rolled out Kyler Bear and Friends T1 Diaries, an 8-part animated series for kids that they say is more than an educational tool. It is a reflection of real-life stories and an avenue to strengthen community ties. I'm going to link up more information about this, and you can watch part of it. They are looking to raise funds. I'm also going to talk to Kyle about this in the next couple of weeks. We are a U.S.-centric podcast, but I already talked about stuff that's happening in the UK and in England. And this was really interesting to me, so I wanted to bring this to you. Married at First Sight UK has ended, and I'm just going to read this from the story because I don't follow this show. One bride says viewers haven't seen her whole story. Fans will find out if Tasha J, 25, decides to stay with her partner. But Tasha, who has type 1 diabetes, has spoken out about how footage about her condition did not make the final cut. She says she is, quote, really sad that it was left out. Quote, I got filmed taking my insulin and checking my blood sugar. She tells the BBC she was diagnosed at age 2.5, and she says people are asking her why she was hiding her diabetes on the show. Quote, and I'm like, I didn't hide it, she says. That really upsets me because diabetes is a part of my story. Married at First Sight is a social experiment, it says here, where experts match complete strangers who try to live as a couple. Do you watch this show? Did you notice this? Were you wondering what was up with Tasha? I think that stinks. But I also think it's a reminder that many people, and I'm not talking about Tasha here, I'm talking about the production, they still think diabetes is something to hide that will make other people uncomfortable. So if they speak out and talk about their motivation here and there's any follow-up on this, I will definitely let you know. I have no idea if Tasha actually married the guy she was with and how that's working out. Maybe we'll provide an update there as well. All right, coming up on Diabetes Connections and Diabetes Connections Type 2. On the Type 2 show next week, you're going to hear from Ramona Holloway. She has such a strong family history of Type 2 that she decided to have bariatric surgery. This was more than 10 years ago. She's going to talk about what happened to her diabetes immediately and what has happened since. And on Diabetes Connections, I'm going to run an episode that is in the Type 2 feed, and that is because it is all about your legal rights with diabetes. We already got a great response to this episode, and I thought it would make a good addition, something that people with all types of diabetes could really benefit from. So that is next week on Diabetes Connections, the original. And that's it for In the News. If you like it, please share it. Word of mouth is the best way to share these episodes. I really appreciate those of you who do that all the time. Thank you so much. And thank you to my editor, John Buchanan from Audio Editing Solutions. I'll see you back here soon.
Diabetes Connections is a production of Stacey Sims Media. All rights reserved, all wrongs avenged.